independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
These models look just at the economy and how President Trump would do if the economy remains strong. They compare what would happen if the economy in a strong set would continue at Election Day 1 year from now. And given that, it shows that President Trump would decidedly win based on the fact that the economic growth remains strong, unemployment is at historically low levels, and that also inflation has remained in check, even with economic growth.
That is Yale professor Ray Fair. Guess what? Economy's his best friend or worst enemy. There you go. Impeachment all day, talk about it, whatever, blah, 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 blah. It's going to happen. And I still don't think he's going to be actually removed or censured. Anything's going to happen to him along the way in the Senate, unless there's something that's so earth-shattering. I don't see that happening. But the economy. My buddy and I were talking today. Great guy. Loves Trump. Loves Trump. Doesn't really like Trump in the sense that, you know, he's like one of those Trump supporters, and there's a lot of them out there, that politics isn't their thing, right? Like that, it's not their thing. Trump just annoys the crap out of the people that he doesn't like. So by default, Trump's his guy, but doesn't really care. But he told me today, dude, no matter how much he annoys those people and how much I find it hilarious, very successful guy, by the way, uber successful, and works in a world of nothing but uber white elites who believe that, you know, the world's coming to an end because of climate change and yada, yada, yada. And just, he just thinks it's hilarious. And so does his wife. His wife works in the most liberal profession outside of Hollywood. And he said today, I love it. I love watching their hair on fire. I love watching them scream and yell. But if the economy died, I'd vote against him. That's it. That's it. Therein lies the magic. It's been that way for every single president. Right? It has. It's been that way over and over. Go look. Go look. Right? Clinton's the worst, but my life's not bad, so I'll pretend I'm voting for somebody else and really vote for Clinton. Why? Because in that box, you're voting with your pocketbook. Am I doing okay? Country's doing okay. Yeah. Low unemployment. Yeah. These other people over here scare me. They're talking about all kinds of stuff. Stuff makes me feel uncomfortable. Talking about taking away stuff. Talking about socialist stuff. Talking about all of these things. No, me a little uncomfortable, a little bit uncomfortable. That may ruin everything. And I gotta hate this guy. But I don't really want to upset the apple cart, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the reality of the world that we live in. If it ain't broke, don't fix. And guess what? Based on everything I see, he's not going to be removed. He probably will be impeached because Nancy really has no choice at this moment in time. She's kind of SOL. Right? They can go on all of the television shows in the world and try to pitch America. Right? Like, this person's bad, this person's horrible, this person's this person's that, nobody else should do this, and da-da-da-da-da, and yada, yada, yada. And they can go and they can sell the dream. And a good portion of it may be true. But because it's so nasty and tribal and partisan, I don't know if I really believe you anymore. And secondly, life's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. And if it's pretty good, right? And it's weird because when you look at polls like, 72% of America think we're going in the wrong direction. But when you ask individuals, they're like, yeah, things are pretty good. My things are pretty good. I mean, the country may be going wrong, but I'm doing okay. And that I'm doing okay makes people smile inside. Makes people think, nah, you know what? I'm not going to change. I'm not going to make that move just yet. Now, we're a year away, right? A year from now, we could have contracted. We could be heading into a recession. Unemployment could be up big time. Think about what's going to happen. We're less than a year now from election night. Think about that. We've gotten to the point where we've got up, we're over the hill, we're on top of the hill, and now we're starting to come down like a roller coaster. Now we're coming down. We are 1 year away. So a lot can happen. And think about the craziness, the insanity, the, oh my God, hair's on fire, media freaking out, doing all the. Think about all of those things. What's going to happen between now and that November night next year? But as long as the economy's okay, as long as all of that stuff's good, you can look at polls left, right, and center. Doesn't matter. And think about this. Nancy Pelosi over the weekend was giving a speech where she came out and she was very honest. Where I come from, she said, San Francisco, liberal world. That politics doesn't work in Michigan. Michigan politics, liberal, democratic politics, doesn't work in San Francisco. And the Democrats better figure that out. Because take away all of the other stuff, right? Look at the swing states and look how Trump's doing. Look at the swing states and see that he's still on a way to electoral college victory. So you can scream from New York, scream from Seattle, Los Angeles, Portland, Chicago, right? Austin. You can do all of those things when it comes to Cedar Rapids, when it comes to, the entire Midwest, right? We're talking about, you look at upper Midwest, Michigan, right? You look at Wisconsin, you look at Ohio, you look at all. He's still sitting pretty, at least for now. Things can change. We're a year away. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Speaking of Trump, the baseball team, the Nationals today, they were at the White House. And this is what, Trump's one of those people that, really, 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 he drives me crazy and I get just frustrated with a lot of stuff. Then Trump will say something because he's so quick and it just makes you laugh. And oh.
America fell in love with the Nats baseball. They just fell in love with Nats baseball. That's all they wanted to talk about. That and impeachment. I like Nats baseball much more.
Yeah. It made me laugh. It did. It made me laugh out loud. I thought, that's the stuff. It's so quick. And people are laughing at it because they're right. And Kurt Suzuki, who is a hell of a player for the Nats, played for the A's. I saw him play when he was just promoted to AAA when I was in Sacramento. So you go see the River Cats play, which was at the time the Oakland AAA baseball team. And he's a hell of a player. But he wore a Make America Great Again hat today. And as we all know, right, in this day and age, to do something like that, to put yourself in a position where the Twitter mob can come for you, they will do it. And that's exactly what is happening right now. They're coming for him. They're saying all kinds of things about him because he wore a MAGA hat. He's catching ire from the fans, according to some people. And he got a weird hug, too, from Trump. I don't know if you saw that. Trump came up from behind, gave him this weird hug. Oh, God. One person says, not going to lie, I've been spending the past decade cheering for the Nats and the last several months obsessed with their playoff journey. It's pretty heartbreaking to see Kurt Suzuki and company go far beyond polite reception and cozying up to a monster who hates people like me. Oh, my God. I don't know how people do it. You wake up pissed. You wake up like the millennials. Have you guys seen the OK Boomer? That's the new thing with the millennials. And this was, I thought, funny. So baby boomers who used to cry way back in the day, trusting to be over 30. Now the millennials and the boomers are battling because the millennials are blaming everything on them, right? The boomers, everything's their fault. There's climate change. Whose fault's that? Baby boomers, right? Their life sucks and they're not going to go anywhere and life isn't going to be better than their parents and everything's a mess and yada, yada, yada. And it's all the baby boomers' fault. And okay boomer has become the young people's phrase when older people and them are discussing something. Okay boomer. And I was laughing my ass. I'm like, really? So you guys are mad at boomers? And partially because boomers, here's the thing. Boomers and millennials, and it's a weird world to think about it, are now in the workforce together, right? Like the Gen Xers, which is me, we bridge the gap, right? Well, that's what we always talk about here. Producer Phil and I always talk about it, the fact that we remember what it was like to not have technology, but then to also grow up in the technology world. So we can bridge the gap of being able to have a conversation and being able to text. We're boomers. It is totally different, right? And now they're all in the same workforce. And we've got it here. We've got people here that are in their 60s. We have a great news guy here who's absolutely hilarious. He's a bit older, long in the tooth, right? He's a boomer for sure. And we've got 20-somethings, young 20-somethings who run around here, and they're nice. And it's funny because it is a different world. And so they're mad. But see, they're mad at their parents and the generation as a whole, because they feel like they were sold a bill of goods. And whose fault is it that nothing is going to... It's not their fault. No. It can't be their fault. It's the boomers' fault. They're the most blaminous society that we have right now. It's the millennials. It's our fault. Anybody over them, it's our fault for climate change. It's our fault that they can't earn a living. It's our fault that they won't have a better life. It's our fault that their world is... All the while not understanding that we live in the greatest time in the history of mankind, with riches in front of us, opportunities abound. They're just pissed and angry for whatever reason. I don't know. Crazy though. Okay, boomer. So funny. Weird. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Got a funny story. Check out the Facebook page. We posted something earlier. We're going to talk about it in a minute on our Facebook page. And I just want to tell people this. If you're insane, you don't have to follow me. It's all good, right? You have to send me a horrible hate text message or any. If you feel the need to, I got no problem with it. But if you hate me, it's just at some point in time, just let it go, right? Like, isn't that what Elsa said? Let it go. Just let it go. Let it go. My Pillow. Don't let it go. I love My Pillow. I love My Pillow. Mike Lindell, the CEO of My Pillow, the creator, he wants to get back to the listeners, you guys who've been so great at supporting our show. Right now, he's got huge discounts, massive discounts on everything right now. All you have to do is go to MyPillow.com, click on the new radio listener special, and check this out. For a limited time, they've got their buy one, get one free offer going on. Buy one My Pillow, get another one free. But here's the other thing. Mattress toppers, huge discounts. Bed sheets, huge discount. Everything, massive discounts. Get the mattress topper. Absolutely incredible. Best thing. It is just amazing. Absolutely incredible. Buy one, get one free. Also going on. And you get a 6-day money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty. All you have to do is go to MyPillow.com, MyPillow.com, new radio listener tab. Enter code Benson. Save big for all these discounts. MyPillow.com. And remember, buy one, get one free going on right now. MyPillow.com. Promo code is Benson. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where the sensible center hangs out. Hey, you! That doesn't mean you can put your feet up on the table.
You're despicable. This is Chad Benson.
On a daily basis, you're reading reports about air pollution can cause permanent brain damage for children, or reports that, poisonous air is connected to millions of deaths of Indians already.
Yeah, India. How bad is it? Ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly bad. When it comes to air pollution, I mean, it's really bad. The Paris climate deal, today's the first day we can actually pull out of it. I know that Trump wanted to get out of it, but there was essentially a waiting period before he could pull out. And they formally notified the UN it's withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement. This time next year, it will be completely out. So there was like a 3-year waiting period. Then you have to give them notification in writing to get out. And then it's so we're getting out of it. 200 countries signed on. I think India was one of them. Doesn't seem to be getting any better over there. It's like nasty, like super, super, super nasty.
You're wearing masks outside. You're sealing your windows shut. You're not going for walks in the park.
Yeah. That's not cool. It's not. It's not cool. It sucks. I don't know what we're going to do. Where's Greta Thunberg when we need her? She's hanging out with who? Oh, that's right. She's with Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo. You know him? Remember him? He's zipping all over the world. Hey, you guys shouldn't fly at all. Hold on. I'm getting on a private jet with my buddies. We're going to fly for like 12 hours to Vegas because there's a party. You guys don't do that. That's bad. You stay away from that. That's bad. Let me take the heat. Don't worry about my yacht I've rented, all right? Don't worry about that and all the stuff it's doing, all right? Like that, don't worry about that, all right? That's none of your business. I'm living life the way I should be. You do what I say. That's the frustration people have. That's the frustration that people have when it comes to stuff like climate change and all of that stuff. Having people around the globe tell you how to live your life, all the while not doing that. Right? Do as I say, not as I do. That frustrates people. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Epstein cover-up. It's trending. It's hilarious. Producer Phil, that thing you sent me from Molson, was that real? Was that their Wikipedia for real?
That was their Wikipedia for a couple of hours. I just happened to stumble upon it.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. We're going to talk about that and the whole cover-up with that. Long Beach State. Athletics. Mascot. Changes name. Frustrates me. I grew up across the street from there. But they made a decision today and changed their name. And it's a stupid name they've came up with. All because of political correctness. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
In its quest to create effective treatments for the flu, researchers have been intentionally infecting people with the influenza virus and then watching them develop fevers, muscle aches, weakness, and other symptoms. The NIH has infected 400 test subjects so far without any long-term health problems. It needs another 80.
Now, if you want to be a part of this, 18 to 49, right? 18 to 49, they're going to give you the flu. You get $3,000. Hopefully everything will go okay. I don't know if it will. But we talk about what? In this day and age. All the things to, oh my God, this is killing you, and that is killing you, and so, and such, and blah, 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 and the guns, and this, that, and the other. And things we should talk about, don't get me wrong. No politics in the flu. 2017 to 18 flu season, 80,000 people died. Let's rewind that. 80,000 people. Oh. 80,000 people died. There's no politics in it. Like if the flu was like, did you guys hear this new right-wing flu? People are like, oh my God, we got to ban it, impeach it. Got to get rid of it. We just got to raise money on it. There's no money in that. But 80,000 people died. I don't know what 2018-19 season is going to bring us, this next year. But still, you're still looking usually in between 50 and about 70,000. Last year's strain happened to be really nasty. Nasty. And they're looking for they want to do the nasal spray, looking for all kinds of different things that they could try and do. But still, we talk about all of this crap. And we forget that things like the flu are killing people every single day. But you don't hear about it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. I grew up in Long Beach, California. Place I still hold near and dear to my heart. As a kid growing up, they had Prospector Pete. Right? 49ers was the name of their team. 49ers. But we live in a new woke world, right? So everybody's woken up. So because of that, and him being back in the day a white prospector who, of course, took nothing but he wasn't out digging holes. He took nothing but advantage of people. Prospector Pete did. They had to get rid of him. And now they've gone from the 49ers. They've changed all of their sports teams' names except for one. The baseball team was always called the Dirtbags. I don't know why. It just is what it is. They're now called the Beach, which is as stupid as the Facebook, which is what it wants to be called now. Just like the Ohio State University, they're the only ones who are allowed to get away with that. How do you even have a mascot at that point in time? I'm curious. Like, what's the mascot look like? I couldn't tell you. I don't even know. Like, is it somebody with a sand? Is it a wave? Couldn't be called the Waves because Pepperdine up the road a little bit. It's the Waves. So you got to go with the Beach, which is just like, just the dumbest name. Next to the Banana Slug, it's up there. But you joked about it, Phil. Redskins not changing their name. Daniel Snyder ain't changing anything. Nothing. You can try your hardest. He ain't changing a damn thing. You could offer him the Super Bowl. You could offer him 5 number 1 overall picks, and he wouldn't change the name. That's not who he is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. I love hearing from all of you. Imagine this. You have a book that you got from a place called a library. You take it back and it's a little bit late. But wait, the story's just beginning.
I don't think that going to jail over those 2 books is okay.
The mother of 5 didn't even know she had the books until she visited the library a few months back. She was told she couldn't use their printer until she returned them. So Sanders called her fiance at the time to check their son's bookshelf. They were right there. She went home, grabbed them, and returned them to the library and assumed she would get a notice about the late fee.
And I assumed that they had sent it to collections and that I would see it on my report or, something like that.
Mother of 5 gets some books, and they decide, no, we show this person. We got to show this person something. What's up? You don't mess with books. You don't mess with words, right? But you turn it back in. It still doesn't matter.
I had no idea that criminal charges were going to be pressed.
But that's exactly what happened. Sanders didn't even know there was a warrant for her arrest until her boss called her after doing a background check that she needed for a promotion.
I had to pull over because it started laughing, and then he was like, no, I'm serious. And I was like, no, there's no way. There's no way I have a warrant.
Late notices go out after a few weeks, a month, 3 months, and again at 4 months. But Sanders never got them because she was moving a lot while trying to get out of an abusive relationship.
Yeah, so she's moving, she's running. Late notices. She turns it in, though, so they still have the books. But that's not good enough. There's no debtor's prison except this debtor's prison, which is for stupid book. This is why Kendall. This is why internet. This is why that.
Any mail that was there, I didn't get. Soon I ended up in the Siren shelter that's here in Charlotte, which helps with domestic violence victims. And your address is confidential. I had to change my phone number. I had to change my entire life.
After a court date, getting fingerprinted, and a whole lot of anxiety, Sanders is stuck waiting for her next court date.
There is no reason why this needs to be happening. Like I said, they would have had a better chance of getting their money if they would have sent me to collections because I would have known. It's
insane, right? Can we just admit that it's absolutely ridiculous that they're doing something like this? No, not gonna drop the charges though. We're coming for you. We want you. We don't care that you're in an abusive relationship. We don't care that any of those things. We care about the fact that you've had our books and you had them too long. Shouldn't you be surprised that anybody shows up? right? To even get a book? All right, here's something for you. Producer Phil, when's the last time you were in the library?
Actually, about 3.5 weeks ago.
What were you doing there?
Buying audiobooks to listen on my drive to and from.
Oh, that's right. But you were buying something.
Renting.
Renting. You rent? Really? They can do that there? I haven't been in the library since I
checked out.
15? Like the school library? And a regular one? Oh, God. No, I can't even remember. Wouldn't even know what to do. They still using that Dewey Decimal thing? Just people don't go to them that you would think. But here's the weird thing. There are more libraries in America than there are McDonald's. Isn't that weird to think? There are more of those things where you get books. And I'm sure they're amazing. I just, even with Jack, because we do everything online. There's still more of those. But come on. A book? Really? That's what we're doing? That's where we're going with this one? A book? You couldn't look and say, look, pay your fine and we'll let you go. What's a fine? How much do they charge you? Is it like $10 a day? Is it $1 a day?
I really don't know.
Remember when you were a kid, though, and you like movies? Remember when movies were overdue? Oh, my God. You ever racked up so many late fees in movies that they finally just charge your credit card for, you own the movie? You own it. $93? $93? Really? For Above the Law with Steven Seagal? Yep. Oh, my God. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. This I find to be interesting, sad, but the reality is what the reality is. Yes, kids. It's a changing world out there in newspaper land.
It's one of the starkest reactions yet to the plunge in local newspaper revenue. The Salt Lake Tribune announcing that it's received approval from the IRS to operate as a nonprofit. The paper saying it's now a 501c3 public charity and will start soliciting tax-deductible donations. Tribune owner and publisher Paul Huntsman saying the current business model for local newspapers is broken and beyond repair, adding we needed to find a way to sustain this vital community institution. Huntsman will transfer his sole ownership to a public board of directors.
Yeah, that's just the reality of the world that we live in today. The newspaper industry is dead. New York Times is never going anywhere. They're going to struggle through, right? They're changing their business model. Everybody's going to be gig economy, guest journalist. There are tons of it's never been better or worse to be a journalist. The problem is nobody wants a good journalist. They all say they do, but the reality is there's good journalism going on every day. Those are the who, what, when, how, and why. They're going to give you the facts, the data, the whole 9 yards. You make the decision up on how you feel about a story, go from there. There's just no money in that. There's zero money in that. I have a lot of friends who are journalists, and they're really good. And I know where they are politically, but they're really good at what they do, and you would never know based on the reporting they do. In saying that, to make money, though, you need to be a flamethrower. To get clicks, likes, shares, views, you can no longer just be that person. Nobody's calling you on CNN, Fox, MSNBC, ABC, any of these other things, or anything. If you're just going to give the data about what happened, right? It's just not. They're bringing you on because they want you to say something. And you're going to have to do that because it's now about other things. It's now about getting the views. It's now about getting the likes. It's now about, and I think journalists out there, we're going to talk to Mark Halperin tomorrow about what he's doing, right? Guy's a smart dude, wrote 2 great books, New York Times, the whole 9 yards. We're going to talk to him about what he's doing. And, I think I know where he stands politically. In saying that, the stuff that I see and I read, you really couldn't tell too much, including even his new book. But I will tell you this right now, there is no money in just being not picking a side, because we as viewers are also picking our own sides now. We're not interested in information, we're in affirmation. So they're trying something new. They're going to go nonprofit. We'll see how that works. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Speaking of nonprofits, I work with one of the best organizations around. They're called Wounded Paw. WoundedPawProject.org is absolutely amazing. Do you realize that over 20 veterans today commit suicide? They're coming home. They're struggling, fighting for just day to day to get by. In so many ways. Some of them are injured. Some of them are struggling from PTSD. Some of them, it's just a tough thing. And they feel alone and lost. Wounded Paw Project saw that because the founder knew, hey, I was one of those people. But then he got a dog and everything changed. Oh, yeah. Their motto is, save a paw is to save a life. Their goal is to take dogs that would otherwise be euthanized, train them from dogs that are inside shelters to make them service dogs, and then they get them to our nation's heroes, our first responders, their families, and our veterans. What they're doing is they're looking for help. If you have any extra car, truck, RV, even a boat, guess what? It is truly a vehicle for change. You're going to be saving a paw to save a life. What they're doing is amazing. Check it out for yourself. Go to woundedpawproject.org, woundedpawproject.org, or call 844-678-4PAW. That's 844-678-4729. You will be saving a paw to save a life. They also take cash donations, but just check out and see what you can do. It really is amazing. woundedpawproject.org. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Just checking this thing out here. People are very angry at Trump for getting out of the Paris Climate Accords. It's just funny to watch people fight. You know what else is funny? Remaking songs that don't need to be remade, but you're remaking them to be more woke. Of course, last year, It's Cold Outside, apparently is bad and evil. Right? So the famous song, Dean Martin's daughters come out and said it's stupid. Absolutely stupid. She appeared on Good Morning Britain on Monday to slam John Legend and Kelly Clarkson, who've updated the song, following complaints last year that the song was written in 1944, promoted date rape and sexual harassment, with some radio stations banning it from their holiday playlist. Oh, that's nice. Their new part's like, it's your body and your choice. It's just awful. What are you doing? Just don't play it then, if that's the way you feel. This wokeness, it's confusing, and it's just, it gives me a headache. I'm fine. I really am. If you don't want to play the song, right? But if you're going to remake it, and that's what you're going to do, it's just better just let it go, right? This is Elsa said, let it go, let it go. Just let the damn thing go.
Iranians pouring into the streets across the country to mark 40 years since students stormed the U.S. Embassy and took American hostages for 444 days. In downtown Tehran, Iranians chanting death to America and death to Israel. They're cheering as they burn American flags. In a televised speech, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei again ruled out talks with the Trump administration.
Hello, Khamenei. Wait. They don't want to sit down and talk with us after they're chanting death to America, burning American flag, death to Israel? Are you kidding me? Are you being honest? That doesn't sound like something they do. I remember that. We were talking about it earlier. I was 8. Phil was 9. Anthony was like 42. And he remembers vividly. But we were just talking about, like, I didn't really know what was happening. But if you think about it, it's like, that's supposed to be your land. That embassy is yours, like sovereign land, if you will. They came in there. There's a great documentary about all of it and how it went down and just some of the craziness around it. How some of the students, a good portion of the students who stormed in there, who were also with a bunch of radicals, were looking around saying, wait, what do you mean? Wait, what? No, wait, we thought this was going to be like a one-day thing, and it wasn't. They're like looking around saying, you're going to be here for a while. You better call your mom. Because that was like, most of them didn't want any part of that. They were pissed and angry about the Shah and a lot of different stuff. And here we are, we're having this revolution in the whole 9 yards. But what they didn't, I think, expect was it going to be 444 days. And in this documentary, it's great because they were celebrating when Carter lost, and they were talking to this guy, and they said, Reagan won. What do you think now? And the hostage looks at him, and he goes, he kind of looked at him like, huh? Very interesting, though. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Also gave us Ted Koppel. I remember waking up, speaking of newspapers, and as a kid, I go get the newspaper, and at the front of the newspaper every day it had, like, what day it was, like day 42, day 47. It was crazy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter and your Instagram. And it's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The deposition transcript from Marie Yovanovitch, former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, shows she said she was shocked to learn President Trump told the Ukrainian leader she was bad news and that she was going to go through some things. The transcript of Michael McKinley's deposition was also released. He is a former senior advisor to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. House Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff says the next transcripts from Ambassadors Volker and Sondland will come tomorrow.
Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to sleep tonight. Oh, yeah, I will. I'll sleep fine. Chad, you need to take this more serious. No, I don't. It's when you know the outcome, barring anything insane, and I don't see that, right? I don't see something super insane happening. I don't see this kick in the door moment, and they're bringing in somebody like, do you know who I am? Do you know what I'm about? Rudy came to me. And I think he does have a Rudy problem. Don't get me wrong. I think he's got a Rudy problem that he's going to have to answer for. And if I know anything about Rudy, he's willing to fall on the sword for this president. But it's not the person in center of the country, right? Those flyover states that the liberals are like, oh, God, the coastal elite. Well, that's not very fair, Chad. No, I lived on the coast most of my life. I was born and raised in Southern California. And I will tell you this. That's the way they think. That's the way they think. They think small town America also happens to be small brain America. And that they know what's best. Nancy Pelosi said it. What works in San Francisco doesn't work in Michigan. That form of liberalism doesn't fly. Makes me laugh. But the average person in the middle of the country isn't coming. Here's the differences. The people in California, Seattle, Portland, Oregon, New York City, they have a disdain for this president. They have a hatred for this president. People in middle America may not like him, but by and large, they don't hate him. Because they're worried about other things. It's not there's this visceral disdain that people have for the president. Where, like you watch Colbert, like he had Nancy Pelosi on, which if you watch Colbert one time, you'll notice that all it is a Democrat talk show. And by that, I mean, all he has on are people in the Democratic Party is like, coming up next, Academy Award winner so-and-so, but not until the end of the show because we're going to spend the next 48 minutes talking to Nancy Pelosi, AOC, Bernie Sanders, da-da-da-da-da. But you're aiming at very large metropolitan areas, Chicago, San Francisco, L.A. But the rest of the country is like, They're busy. They're busy doing other things. By the way, Pelosi was on Colbert.
So the House voted, are we done? Is the president impeached?
No, but thank you for asking. This is a sad thing for our country. We do this prayerfully with great seriousness. Nobody goes to Congress to impeach a president. And you've had your fun with the policy and the personality and the rest.
Sure.
And that's about the election. The patriotism, the Constitution is really what impeachment is about.
Yeah. And remember what you said, Nancy? We're not going to do this unless it's bipartisan. It's anything but. But she's on there. Middle America doesn't care. Most people don't care. It's on the periphery, right? They care about the economy. Is the economy good? Is my paycheck good? Right? Is my business good? Are things strong? Is it going to be a good Christmas, good fourth quarter? Am I still going to be in a position where if I need to hire somebody, I can do that without having to worry about overhiring and then all of a sudden looking like, business is drying up? Is it the right time to start a business? Should my business expand? Should I go back to school? All of those. That's what the average person thinks about. In the Beltway, they're just, they're very myopic. They're looking at their own little world thinking, this is what everybody in America is talking about. No. Saturday, I went to an event where there was several different radio hosts that were all there. Right, so you had several different radio hosts. Some were there for sports. There was a rock person, and then I was there. You know how many people asked me about it? Trump impeachment? 0. None. Regular people, every day. I had one person ask me about it, and it was another radio host who had nothing to do with talk radio, sports radio, anything. Had to do with rock radio. Outside of that. And they asked me, is this going to be good for you? Average persons, they care about other things because we are inherently selfish. We care about our own world, right? Is my own world better now? Could my own world be at risk if I make a change? I'm not saying you don't impeach him if you found something that was absolutely so super impeachable. Of course, absolutely. But if it's just strictly bipartisan, it's not bipartisan. It's completely partisan. So if it is going to be that way, what's it going to be like in the future when we just don't like a president? If that's the way it's going to be, that we're just going to willy-nilly do it because we think we found something we can get him on, and now all we have to do is sell the American people that we should overturn their vote. That is a slippery slope. It is. But, Chad, what about all the stuff he's done? Again, in life, it's not what you know, it's what you prove. And you could probably go back to every president and find things that you feel uncomfortable enough with that you can look and say, I think you overstepped. I think you did something here that you probably could. Go all the way back. Go back in the way back days. In saying that, what does the average person think? That's the quiet voter who doesn't take polls, who aren't activists, just you and I going about our days. Those are the people that will decide this. Not the activists, not the extremes. Not defend at all costs and not attack and throw everything at the average person. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Do you have it? Maybe not, but your kids probably do.
Nope. It's one of the most popular social media apps out there.
My name is Skylar. I rep.
Loved by teens and young adults, turning dance videos and lip syncs into viral sensations. With reports of 500 million users worldwide, TikTok has cemented its place in pop culture history.
Yes, it has. But there's an issue with TikTok. An issue that here's something that's bipartisan. That both sides of the aisle are looking on based on who owns TikTok now.
Favorited by stars like Ariana Grande,
Got me walking side to side.
Britney Spears,
and focus on getting a six-pack. So, here I go.
And Reese Witherspoon.
Now look at me. My actions.
Oh, yeah.
But this morning, the wildly popular app, which is owned by a Chinese company, is reportedly under federal investigation. The U.S. government reportedly launching a national security review of the company's data collection and censorship practices amid concerns that users' personal data could be accessible to foreign governments.
Oh, we're worried about all kinds of stuff? Think about that. And their algorithm is super advanced. It is super advanced. I was talking to our digital guru, our tech guru, Paul Lamone, and we were talking about how advanced their algorithm is, and it is amazing how advanced it is. And several people, Marco Rubio, several others on both sides of the aisle have been sounding the alarm. Who's this company? What are they about? Because now they're owned by a Chinese company, and they can come out and say all the things they want, but we're worried about that. You know, we've got Huawei here. We're saying, well, nope, sorry, you guys aren't going to be building anything here in America because we're worried about what you're going to do. And now you've got this company where basically every kid in the world is now opting in to sing little 10, 15-second lip syncs to popular songs and whatnot. And they got all kinds of info.
In 2017, the Beijing-based company ByteDance purchased the U.S. social media app Musical.ly, merged it into their TikTok app, and opened TikTok's headquarters in California. The app coming to the attention of several U.S. senators, worried that TikTok could be a target of foreign manipulation after Russia's attempts to interfere with the 2016 U.S. election through Facebook.
Yeah. I think they got a reason to worry. That's a lot there, kids. That is a lot. We're not talking about a little. We're talking about a lot of people have downloaded this thing, and it has exploded. And remember now, people, well, again, younger kids don't care, right? Like the younger generation has opted in to George Orwell's nightmare, Big Brother. They've opted into it. The older generation, right, they weren't getting it. Like, you're not getting something for free, right? You're going to be, you are not the end product. You are for the end product. But the worry is, did they give us something that people got excited about? And now we'll have the opportunity to play the games. Because we worry about Russia, right? But Iran, North Korea, China, and Russia, along with several others, are going to be playing games in this coming election, spreading false narratives, because they're going to be looking to either, I always tell everybody, Russia did what it did with Trump because they didn't think Trump had a chance to win. Their whole goal wasn't to get Trump elected. Their whole goal was to weaken Hillary coming into presidency and making her life miserable and stirring the pot. They never thought he was going to win. Hell. Let's be real, right? The pooter woke up and said, I was shocked. I went to bed. Next thing you know, I wake up and he's president. They thought they were going to weaken somebody who was going to come into the presidency with a cloud of suspicion, even more so than she already had, and limping into her first few days, months, and weeks in office. That's what they thought was going to happen, and it didn't happen. He ended up winning. I tell everybody, shoot a one. Do you think we'd be having any of this conversation about Trump and Mueller? No. Any of this conversation about any of this crap? No. They didn't think she was going to win. I mean, they didn't think she was going to lose. They thought she was going to win. And what do you want to do? Want to weaken your opponent before you take your opponent. They didn't have a good relationship, Pooter and her, right? Ever since the whole reset thing. So there was a lot more to it than just what everybody thinks was, oh, he got help from this, that, and the other. No, they expected her to win. And they wanted to do something. So when there was negotiation, when there was talk about Crimea and all this stuff, that they felt like they were going to be on a different path because they had weakened her. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Now, wokeness may come through in a way that's different, all because people want to lip sync 15-second songs or whatever they're doing. I've been on there a couple times. I've seen what it's like. I was like, Jack loves it. I'm like, no, dude. You know who that is. Who's that? Who are these people following you? What are they about? Do you know any of that stuff? No. But we've opted into a world now where, come take a look. Look at what we got. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter and your Instagram as well. Posted something funny on Instagram. So funny. So this weekend, I'm out doing an appearance. Somebody comes up and she goes, I'm going to try Super Beats. What does it do? I said, well, look, beets are, she goes, I don't like beets. I said, I know you don't like beets. Not too many people do. And there's always somebody like, my grandma used to prepare it that way. Yeah, but the average person's not drinking or eating all of these kind of things because the amount you would have to go through. And along came Super Beets. Super Beets helps with heart health, right? It helps you with your blood pressure, gives you amazing circulation and natural energy. And I'm a convenience guy, and they've now got soft gels that are amazing. Soft chews, you put them in your mouth, boom, away you go. And I said what they've done is they got grapeseed extract from the Loire Valley in France. That's their secret ingredient that helps with the taste. And it also is clinically shown to support healthy blood pressure. It is absolutely amazing. And I said, you're going to go, you buy 2 bags, they're going to give you a third one, you're going to get a little addicted to them. They taste incredible, and they work. You want energy, you want heart health, you want all of those things, circulation. This is it. Get yours today. Go to superbeatsradio.com/Chad. You buy 2 bags, they throw a third one in for free. Superbeatsradio.com/Chad. Superbeatsradio.com/Chad. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
After Geoffrey Kamworor of Kenya won the New York City Marathon.
First across the line for the men's elite.
Attention turning from the runner to his footwear. Kamworor wearing the same Nike Vaporfly sneakers that the winners of the 5 fastest marathons in history have been wearing. The sneakers developed as part of a project to run the world's first marathon in under 2 hours. Runner's World contributor Alex Hutchinson on Vox's Reset podcast.
It left a very sour taste in the mouths of a lot of people.
But a Nike spokesperson telling ABC News that the materials in the shoe were nothing new and insists the shoe is only one factor in a race.
Really? That's what you guys are worried about? A shoe? Like, did you think it was magical? Listening to the way he starts this guy. Try to say his name correctly.
After Geoffrey Kamworor.
Geoffrey Kamworor. I just love it. Well, it's a shoe. Shoe's better. But do you guys remember in the world of swimming, those suits that Speedo made that everybody got upset about? Like, no, everybody's breaking all these records because of these suits. And I'm like, no, it's not really that. I mean, you can put it on the slowest swimmer in the Olympics, and it's not going to help them, right? It's just not. I mean, the people that are breaking it, this may be a smidge, just a smidge on what they're doing. But the reality is they were smashing records. These are just better shoes. He wasn't taking any drugs. He's training hard and has something that's a little bit more comfortable. Nike didn't make magic footwear that make you hover so you can take off faster. It is none of that stuff. It's just a better shoe. It's that simple. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from every single one of you. Guess what? We know it. You know it. Everybody know it. Papers not going really well. Newspaper industry. So one newspaper is changing up the game just a smidge.
It's one of the starkest reactions yet to the plunge in local newspaper revenue. The Salt Lake Tribune announcing that it's received approval from the IRS to operate as a nonprofit. The paper saying it's now a 501c3 public charity and will start soliciting tax-deductible donations. Tribune owner and publisher Paul Huntsman saying the current business model for local newspapers is broken and beyond repair, adding we needed to find a way to sustain this vital community institution. Huntsman will transfer his sole ownership to a public board of directors.
Yeah. I mean, look, they've got to do something. The newspaper industry's dead. And it's funny, we've had more news now than ever before. The problem is the establishment news world doesn't exist like it used to. We can get our news how we want it, a la carte, to fit whatever political view we have, whatever it is we're looking for, whether we only want sports or we only want entertainment or whatever it is. New York Times, the LA Times, they're not going anywhere. But the reality is the newspaper industry has changed tremendously. And that's also a bad thing and a good thing. The good thing is you have an opportunity to be a journalist and to create your own world. The bad thing is in creating your world and controlling your destiny, you get what you get, which is a lot of the craziness in the nutty world of news that we get now, where people have to say the most extreme things and print those things on the front of every, place that you can have a click because they need people to pay attention to those things. And that right there, kids, is frustrating a lot of people. It really is. And I get it. I understand it. But the newspaper industry have changed, just like the radio industry changed 25, 30 years ago. Welcome to a different world. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
These models look just at the economy and how President Trump would do if the economy remains strong. They compare what would happen if the economy in a strong set would continue at Election Day 1 year from now. And given that, it shows that President Trump would decidedly win based on the fact that the economic growth remains strong, unemployment is at historically low levels, and that also inflation has remained in check, even with economic growth.
Boom. In the end, doesn't matter. I was talking to a buddy of mine today who's a big Trump supporter, and we were chatting. And I said, dude, he could be a saint. He could be an absolute saint. Greatest person on earth, sweetest, kindest man, did everything for everybody. The world could look upon him with reverence. And if our economy is in the dumper, he's gone. You're a wonderful person. God bless you. Now get out of here. He could be what he is, which is a sinner, aren't we all? And if the economy's good, we'll hold our nose. That's the reality of that. That is the reality of the world we live in. Because not only are there exhausted majority of people out there, but there's also a quiet majority of people out there who aren't activists, right? Who aren't never Trumpers or Trump sycophants. They're people that go to work every single day, who follow politics on the periphery of their life, but don't really get into the day-to-day nuance of it, aren't really thrilled by the thought of impeachment and all of this stuff, and are asking themselves the question, how are we doing right now? Well, we feel like we're doing okay. Well, you know what? I'm not going to break anything at this point in time. Don't like the loud noises, don't like the screaming and yelling, don't like the way Trump acts, don't like his childish behavior. At the same time, I look at the media and say they have a part to play in it. But the economy's okay, so we'll move on. And that's the reality of the world we live in. We're still a pocketbook voting society. Nobody's going to vote to put themselves in a situation where the economy could stall and die. You're just not going to do it. You're not. Because you care about you. You care about your world. You care about the things that matter to you, which is paying your bills, building your business, getting your life in a situation where you feel comfortable. You're not going to put that at risk with the unknown, because we're very much a unknown world too. I don't know. I don't like the unknown. I don't know what this could bring. I'm hearing what they're saying, and it feels uncomfortable to me. Feels like a reach. Feels like a stretch. If things are good, the economy's good, all the other stuff gets drowned out. All of it gets drowned out. It just slowly but surely dies a horrible death, and the Democrats know that. So as long as the economy is staying steady, Trump's going to walk.
And even with the trade tariffs that we're seeing and manufacturing being affected, consumers have hung on to their spending patterns. So two of these models by Oxford Economics and Moody Analytics have historically been pretty accurate. They basically have predicted many of the popular votes. They've been wrong a little bit of the time, but based on this, they showed that President Trump would win.
Yeah. This weekend, Nancy Pelosi was giving a speech, and she essentially said, look, the left's mad at me because I'm not socialist. Right? But what works in my liberal San Francisco doesn't work in Michigan. And what works in Michigan doesn't work in liberal San Francisco. I've said it over and over again. You take California politics and you move it somewhere there's four seasons, and 2 of those seasons aren't very nice, you'll find out that stuff changes fast. Swing states, they're not looking at impeachment. They don't care. They care about their paycheck, the rising cost of health care. They care about immigration. They want solutions to certain problems that the average American just can't. Look, I can handle my own life. I can't deal with immigration. You can't deal with immigration, right? There is no magical, we're going to vote immigration. No, we put people in place to deal with those things. That's the reality of it. So Trump's best friend in the world is the economy, and it could become his worst as well. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. With all that swirling around, you have the impeachment thing going on, and today they're releasing some transcripts.
The 3 committees leading the impeachment inquiry have released the transcripts of hours-long closed-door depositions from Marie Yovanovitch, former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, and Michael McKinley, former senior advisor to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. House Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff says, quote, as we move towards this new public phase of the impeachment inquiry, the American public will begin to see for themselves the evidence that the committees have collected.
But think about this. They're releasing selected people that it benefits their side of it, right? That's what they're releasing. Selected people. Little things here and there. Selected itty-bitty parts here and there. Selected parts. Listen to this. Listen what this is about. Look what these people say. Look at all of this stuff right here. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? Well, what do you think? At this point in time, I'm sitting there going, I'm not a fan of what he did. Not going to defend him. I don't like the fact that he asked a foreign government to look in, and I've said it over and over again 1,000 times to people who are like, well, he didn't do anything wrong. I get that. As far as anything that rises to the level based on what I've seen where you're going to remove him. In saying that, if this was Mitch McConnell's son and he was on, do you think he'd be looking into this? Probably not. So it was benefiting him, but the money wasn't held back. They got the money. As much as I'm not a fan of the way it went, Trump is very much in it for Trump. Doesn't mean he doesn't love America and want to do the best for America. But he wants to win. And Trump is one of those people, I think at times, is more than willing to cross a line that makes you, but does it rise to the level of impeachment? In a country right now that is struggling with divide, does it rise to that level? That's a fair question to ask, right? I mean, if you watch the news, we're more divided than we've ever been, and it ain't getting any better, right? The reality is, though, we're not as divided as people think, but the extremes are getting further apart. So they're pulling apart, and we're looking around going, and this isn't going to help. And Nancy Pelosi's got no choice at this point in time. She got no choice. She got zero choice. She's put herself in a position where I got to do this. I got to do this. So here we go. And I would find it hard to believe that after we have weeks of behind closed doors hearings, which is really oversight, followed by stuff that's going to be in front of the public, which I don't think is going to change much. And what will change will probably be in favor of the president, that Nancy's still not going to vote for impeachment because I think her party would lose its mind. And I think she's at the point where she doesn't really have a choice. And she's going to have to do it. And we already know what the outcome is going to be in the Senate, barring anything that is so hidden that is sandbagging, as we used to say, where somebody's going to bring up something and go, but did you expect this? It's not going to happen, kids.
What we voted on Thursday is not due process. There's no transparency. We had that vote on Thursday. 4 days later, the Democrats are right back at it in the basement of the Capitol, having 4 more depositions secret that the public can't see. But now with that vote, they even have more control. They now made the Intel Committee the impeachment committee. They now control even further about which Republicans could even ask questions. They made Adam Schiff not only a fact witness, but he's the judge, the jury, and the prosecutor. That is unheard of.
Kevin McCarthy there. Yeah. But, again, what happens afterwards? So you go and you pull. You say you have to do all of these things. You pull, you pull, you pull. You say it's right there. And you're like, I'm looking at it, and I understand what you're trying to tell me, but let me get this right. They got their money. Trump pressed some issues that, well, I still want to get to the bottom of 2016, so that's fair. Do I like what he did to Biden and his kid? No, I don't think we should have done that. The 2016 thing, was there a quid pro quo? Yes. In some cases there was, but does it rise enough to the level where you're like, we got to remove this guy? You're talking about something where you're looking at 62 plus million Americans saying we're going to cancel your vote because we think this guy did something. But remember this. Somebody over the weekend tweeted at me, and I tweeted back at him. Front page of the Washington Post, the day he was sworn in, said the clock for impeachment or the road for impeachment starts now. So think about that for a second. The road for impeachment starts now. That's the day he was sworn in. They've been looking for a reason to get rid of him. And I understand there's some stuff that's questionable, but think about what you're going to do to the country when you go down this path. The Republicans learned a lesson after Clinton, and the Democrats may have to learn a lesson after this. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So, Producer Phil, did you enjoy your extra hour of sleep?
I did.
I didn't, because I didn't get one, because I'm in Arizona, and we're smart enough to go, we're not moving the clocks. We're just going to keep it right here. We're going to keep it right here. We're good. I like that. I do. I like that. Big time. Now, Oregon and Washington State have already passed bills to essentially do the same thing, but they say they can't do anything until California, which is, I guess, they've talked about it, they've tabled it, and there's a bunch of other states that are looking to, I think Massachusetts is looking to go on Atlantic time, which is like Nova Scotia and Puerto Rico, which is 4 hours ahead of Pacific time. There's a bunch of states that are trying to do stuff because at this point in time, we all think it's kind of ridiculous and silly. And while this isn't bad, remember when you spring forward is one of those days that causes a lot of people stress. And I believe more heart attacks happen on that day than other days. So, yeah, I think at this point in time, it's time to get rid of it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Hope you had a good weekend. We're heading towards Christmas. We live in a wireless world, and you're saying to yourself, Self, I need a great pair of earbuds. What can I get the family? What can I get myself? Raycon. Raycons are amazing. Half the price. That's what they start at. Other premium wireless earbuds in the market. The latest model, the E25. 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a noise-isolating fit, which to me is great when you're making phone calls. Guess what? You hear the person on the other end of the phone call, and they hear you. Nothing else. It is absolutely amazing. There are no wires. There are no stems. It's just comfortable and smooth. You will not believe it. Then you put it on, you're like, whoa, Snoop Dogg loves them. You will too. Get 15% off your order right now. Check it out for yourself. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. 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 Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show, the only place so far that the Mueller investigation hasn't deep probed for collusion.
Redacted! Redacted!
Stay tuned.
This is Chad Benson.
It's funny, I follow Gilbert Godfrey on Twitter. I think he follows me, and he does that Cameo thing. Like, everybody's doing Cameo now. Snoop Dogg's doing Cameo. That's where you can, you go and you pick a star that you know, a lot of them are B stars, D stars, C stars. Like, some of them are like, who's this person? But you pay them X amount of dollars and they'll give you like a 15-second or 30-second, like, hey, what's up? It's me, so-and-so. Happy birthday to da-da-da. Or you make fun of somebody and it's hilarious. But Gilbert Gottfried's on there. Hey, I just want to say happy birthday. And I'm just like, really? But if you did 3 of those a day and they're paying you $200, right? Hey, you're doing all right. Right? I mean, you're making $600 a day. You make a couple grand a week. That's a pretty good living for going, guess what? Hi, happy birthday. That's not too bad. I'm just saying.
Iranians pouring into the streets across the country to mark 40 years since students stormed the U.S. Embassy and took American hostages for 444 days. In downtown Tehran, Iranians chanting death to America and death to Israel. They're cheering as they burn American flags. In a televised speech, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei again ruled out talks with the Trump administration.
Yeah, good times. Wonder why. Did you see they've got this new mural that they painted? It's basically, you know, death to America. I was 8 years old when that happened. And you don't know the ramifications when that takes place. You're like, I have no idea what's going on. I knew something was going on. And remember, that gave us, was it Nightline with Ted Koppel? It's me, Ted Koppel. That gave us Nightline. And it was just so interesting. If you think about it now, though, like, essentially, they invaded American soil. Because that's what these embassies are. That's a safe haven. That is the soil of the country. That's the way it's supposed to be. And I watched a great documentary talking about the run-up to Reagan, the whole 9 yards. But also they were talking to some of the young students that went in there thinking this was going to be a protest and that they were going to do a few things. And eventually it was going to go away because they're pissed off at America for the Shah and all of this kind of stuff. And what ends up happening is they, too, are kind of hostage because there are other people who are like, no, we're making a real stand here. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, we got other things. We're just, no, we don't want. They were stuck there, too, having to play like we're the bad guys. When some of them just wanted to make us like a protest. I was just laughing. That's got to suck. Hey, this thing that we were doing, Mom, I thought we were going to be here for like a couple days, but they're telling us it's going to be a year. Whoa. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You tweet us. Hope you had a good Halloween. I was off on Friday. Touched a little bit on Elizabeth Warren and her, well, I'm assuming it's rather expensive by the looks of it. And it still feels like it's in Fantasyland. And even in Fantasyland, people in Fantasyland where all dreams come true are like, yeah, I don't think this will work. We're looking at the numbers and no, that's a lot of trillions. Like 1 trillion is a lot of trillion. Up to 52 trillion is a lot of trillions. And I don't know where they think that money's coming from. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. McDonald's CEO says he's out. We'll talk about that and why people are saying, what about Katie Hill? Remember her? The congresswoman, the pictures, all that stuff? That's not why she's out. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
What it paints is that investigators and members of Congress took their time with each of these individuals that went up and sat for these depositions, going through the timeline of what happened here. Remember, this goes all the way back to November of 2018. That's when Rudy Giuliani, the president's personal attorney, started to look into Ukraine and matters related to the Bidens.
Yeah, Trump's got a Rudy problem, among other things. You know, whether you like Trump or don't like Trump, he's got a Rudy problem. And that's a real thing. He's got a lot of issues that he needs to look at, and Rudy is definitely one of them. I don't know what's going to happen with any of this stuff at this moment in time, because the reality is based on everything, Trump's not going anywhere. That's the reality of this. Trump's not going anywhere. You may hate Trump with absolutely every fiber of your being. You must just get stabbed. You used to hate it. He's just the worst person. But when it gets to the Senate, Mitch McConnell will have sway. Nancy Pelosi said she wanted this to be a bipartisan thing if they're going to do this. It was anything but, right? It was anything but bipartisan. It wasn't bipartisan. It wasn't close to being bipartisan. It's not going to be that way in the Senate. That is the truth. It's silly and it's stupid. I understand why in this day and age of tribalism, progressivism, and uber alt-right conservatism and all of this other stuff that's out there, that you have a loud portion of a base that is extreme fringes, that is louder and angrier, that you feel like you have to, take care of that voice because those are the ones that are banging on the door all the time and you just want it to stop. But at the end of the day, middle America, swing states, those flyover states that L.A. and New York, San Francisco, Seattle, all kind of look down upon, right? They're going to be the ones. And right now, the economy's okay. It's pretty good. The numbers point to, as long as it stays the way it is, it's going to be tough to beat him. Because those people are talking about health care and the cost of health care. Those people are talking about making sure that their job isn't going anywhere and that maybe it's time for them to start their own business, or maybe it's time for their small business to expand a little bit more, or maybe it's time to go back to school and do something. They're looking at things much different. They care about what's going on in their kids' life today. They cared about those things that matter on a day-to-day dinner table, as if we do that anymore, have a dinner together kind of thing. This people who are myopic, who live in the Beltway, who think, and they go back to talk to all of their constituents. Well, when you go meet the people that want to come out and see you, 99 times out of 100, you're going to get people, right? So you may represent 200,000, 500,000, 50,000. You may get 25, 50, 100 people to show up. Those are the people that have passion enough to show up and be angry at you for something or for you for something. But the everyday average person doing their thing, they're thinking about other stuff. That's the reality of it. That is the real reality of what's going on. I'm exhausted by it. I don't know what it serves. If you have something huge and big, like if this is what you have, uncomfortable as it may be, the reality is he's not going anywhere. Doesn't rise to that. It doesn't. Doesn't rise to the point we got to get rid of this. No, it doesn't. It's nasty. It's not a good look. You need to use better judgment. But let's be real. This isn't changing anything. The economy will be his best friend or his biggest foe. That is the reality of it. That is absolutely the reality of it. So you can bring out all the people you want to bring out, right? Which is what they're doing. And they're slowly bringing them out. They're releasing the transcripts of what he said, what she said. But remember, we've heard one side. Another side will have their chance. If you're open-minded enough, you're going to listen. If you've already made up your mind, then it doesn't really matter what anybody says or didn't say.
The deposition. Transcript from Marie Ivanovich, former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, shows she said she was shocked to learn President Trump told the Ukrainian leader she was bad news and that she was going to go through some things. The transcript of Michael McKinley's deposition was also released. He is a former senior advisor to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. House Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff says the next transcripts from Ambassadors Volker and Sondland will come tomorrow.
Yeah, so they're rolling stuff out. The Republicans are going to come out and they're going to say, well, we didn't really get to have a chance to question him. Is this really what the average person is talking about? I mean, we're heading into 2020. We're not too far away. And think about this. We're a few months away from Iowa. By April, we're into Super Tuesday and doing all of this stuff. I mean, we're moving in such a direction, and it's happening faster than people realize. And at the rate that they're going now, because I think that they're slowing down a little bit and they're starting to say, okay, well, let's figure this thing out and how are we really going to do this impeachment? Where do we go from here? And the whole nine. As that all starts to take place, we're probably not going to get into a position of an actual impeachment vote until the end of this month, maybe early December. We may have that trial mid-December through the end of the year into the beginning of the year. And depending on how that goes, we could be in a position where he's acquitted come mid-January and into the election. And both sides are raising a ton of money on it. But at the end of the day, what is the average person talking about? Rising cost of health care, immigration, the economy. Those are things that are always 1, 2, and 3. It's just how do you base it? Depending on where you are in the country. Those are, this is, okay, what about, okay, I'll move this here and this here. That's what people are thinking about. It's the average person's thinking about. Talk to a lot of them. You know, what's funny is this past weekend I was out doing an appearance and I was talking to some people and I didn't have one person come up to me and say, well, you know, what do you think about this, you know, impeachment thing? That were listeners, and none of them, by the way. Well, one of them didn't mind Trump, but the other two weren't fans of Trump, and they like a lot of the other stuff I do, but they never asked me any question about it. The one person that asked me about it was another radio person who didn't want to know about whether or not he thought it was a good idea. He thought, that's got to be good for your business, right? I'm like, no, it's annoying. You want to know the truth? It's annoying. It's annoying, because I felt like we've already done this before. Like a movie, right? Like We've already done this movie, and now we're doing pretty much the same kind of movie, just a little bit different. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. So they asked Mrs. Warren, Elizabeth Warren, about who is, according to her, middle class. So you say, who's this really going to affect? Like, what is middle class you? It's not going to affect the middle class. Okay, where is the middle class threshold? And this is what you had to say.
Here it's 100%. It doesn't raise taxes on anybody but billionaires. And you know what? The billionaires can afford it, and I don't call them middle class. So, billionaire, that's where it worked.
Anyone under $1 billion, that worked.
That's right. It's not paying a penny more. That's exactly right.
So, anybody under $1 billion is middle class. You heard that. That's exactly right. So only billionaires are going to pay for that thing, her $52 trillion Medicare for all. Only they are paying for that. So that's it. Nobody else is paying for it. Well, maybe some companies. And maybe, I mean, at least Bernie's honest, right? She doesn't want to come out and say it because she knows the minute she comes out and says it, people are going to go, oh, because nobody wants higher taxes, right? Nobody does. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody goes, I want to pay a lot more taxes. Nobody does. Nobody wants that. I mean, even the person that's like, well, you know, those billionaires, millions, you go down to your H&R Block or to Liberty Tax or whatever it is that you go and do, you're looking for all of the write-offs you think you can get. Whether it's a business lunch or travel miles or whatever you think, you're looking for it like everybody else. Nobody wants to pay any more. Some people just don't want to pay more because a lot of people just don't want to pay more because like the government's going to screw it up anyways. But apparently, according to her $52 trillion plan, the middle class, anybody under $1 billion is middle class. Nice. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. You can be rich. You can be middle class. You can be strapped for cash. CarShield's got your back. CarShield is amazing. So your check engine light comes on. What do? Most people, if you've got a new car, you're like, it's no big deal. I got a warranty, right? Like, still, man, I got a new warranty. Most people, though, average car on the road is about 12 years old. 12 years old. Think about that for a second. That's mold right there. But because cars are made so great now, it's really not that old. But people don't have warranties. You don't have a CYA yourself. That's where CarShield comes in. 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. The shop is the shop you choose. Take your favorite mechanic, dealership, whoever. They get them paid directly. What do? You pay a small deductible and away you go. They've got all kinds of plans to fit your needs. Check them out right now. Call 800-CAR-6000. When you do, mention code Benson. Saves you 10%. That's 800-CAR-6000, code Benson. Or go to carshield.com. Check out all the plans they have. That's carshield.com. Use code Benson to save yourself 10%. A deductible may apply. What's trending? Chad Benson Show.
Plea deal this.
Mueller, arrest me.
Chad will trade you 2 perjury charges for 1 collusion and throw in a reduced charge of obstruction for free.
Yeah, I'd do that.
For just listening to The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old intranet. What's trending? Lots of stuff is trending, kids. Crazy stuff. Crazy. Paris, climate. We're pulling out. Takes about a year, apparently. It's a very slow process. Very slow process to pull out. We are pulling out of it. Top of that, Election Day tomorrow. There is an election nationwide for several states and little things and some big ones. I think 3 governor elections are tomorrow. So it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. Because governors are one of those weird situations where you look at it and they don't really, it's not, they're doing their own mini presidents, right? So he or she is doing her own thing or his thing, and it's for their state. And while they deal somewhat with the president or with outside of that, they don't deal much with the Fed. Minus California always fighting with Trump. It's not a lot, minus a visit here or there. They're doing their own thing. But some people are trying to see if this is if this is going to be some sort of signal one way or another to Trumpian politics. Deshaun Jackson, football player, is out. Played 1 game, came back yesterday, tore all the muscles away from his abdomen. Game number 2. Not a good way to go. Kurt Suzuki is trending right now, and the reason is he wore a MAGA hat today. He's a catcher for the Washington Nationals, the champions of the world. And apparently, he decided to don a MAGA hat, and he got a weird hug from the president, which, of course, caused all kinds of craziness because, that's what happens. Just rather than saying I got caught up in the moment, he gave me a hat, I put it on. Get over yourselves. Doesn't matter anymore. Paris Climate Accord is also trending. It's very interesting. I just asked the question because we're pulling out of it a little while ago. Like, what do you think about us pulling out of this? Again, it's going to take a year. And what do you think about us pulling out of this? And mixed. And it's funny because the people are like, well, we should do more. And look, the last huge poll that came out about it, Americans, we should do more. We should totally do more. We got to do more. And then when you're like, but it's going to cost you an extra $1,500 a year, $2,000 a year. whatever it is, you're like, well, I'm willing to spend $100 a year. I don't know how much, I'm not getting too crazy about it. It's like I'm willing to help. We always like the same thing. Like Medicare for all sounds great until they reach into your what? Your pocketbook. Because if you're going to take from me, I would like to have some choice. How do we know you're going to do the right thing with it? How do we know what you're going to do with it? It all sounds good until you figure out what's going on. And you're like, oh, hold on a second. And it's the same thing. Everybody wants the opportunity for something, but the sacrifice, I don't know about that. Right? Like let's say today that we could fix global warming, but gasoline's going to have to be $10 a gallon, $8 a gallon with taxes and everything else. That's how they're going to get the money to build certain things, whatever they come up with. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing? You willing to give up your car and not travel? Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to watch an industry struggle and potentially evaporate, if you will? We all want good stuff. We all want clean water. We all want, but like everything else, we live in the here and now. All of it sounds good, saving the wee willing weaking worm and a penguin and all of that stuff. But then when it comes to would you do this, you look around and say, I can't afford that. Or it's a little steep for me. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Apparently, we post stuff on our Facebook. We got like 160,000, what, or 200,000. I don't even know. A good portion of them are nuts. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know where some of these people come from, but we posted. There's a poll out. Fox poll, by the way. And here's the thing. Don't shoot the messenger is what we're saying, right? Like, I didn't put this out. I don't do polls because I think polls, in particular in this day and age, are completely a mess because we're so terrified of being judged by the other person on the other end of the line for saying, I vote for this person or for that person or for whatever, right? So we put this thing up, right? Now, this is a Fox poll. It's not a Chad poll. It's a Fox poll, all right? Anthony, Phil, myself, none of us put it together. We even state on there, don't shoot the messenger. I repeat, don't shoot the messenger. People are going, I'm going to unfollow you. How much money is George Soros giving you? I'm like, really? Are you that dumb? Yes, you are. What scares me is you're going to vote. What scares me is you're going to vote. The poll says that Trump essentially would lose to Hillary. You and I both know that's not true at this point in time. Right? I don't think Hillary would love to win. She doesn't want to lose. And that means you'd have to get in the race. And the chances of you losing could be very real. And nobody on your side of the aisle really wants you to get into it. The media might enjoy it. Like it's goes from the rumble in the jungle and we're going to the Thriller in Manila. We want these rematches, but the reality is not going to happen. But it just makes me laugh. Because people are so blinded, right, in their weird world of I only like things that affirm my belief. I want to find out no information about anything. And if you dare challenge my belief or say something against my Yahweh, I will lose my... And that's what they've done. You just can't. You sit there and you laugh. You laugh your ass off. I'm just like, whatever. Oh, my God. You could tell them, this isn't from me. Well, you're spreading the evil. Shut up. Shut up. Over the weekend, Kate McKinnon on Saturday Night Live did a little thing with Elizabeth Warren. Being Elizabeth Warren because that's her new jam, talking about Medicare for all.
When Bernie was talking Medicare for all, everybody was like, oh, cool. And then they turned to me and they said, fix it, Mom. And I'll do it because that's what moms do, right? You know, with Dad, you eat birthday cake for breakfast and then go to Six Flags. And then I hold your hand while you throw up in my purse.
The way that they talked about it, though, was kind of hilarious because they made it seem like it was really her and that this right here is going to help her with this craziness. Like, this is going to totally help Elizabeth Warren, right?
Jeff Bezos is going to go from paying no tax to a tax. Yeah, Mr. Bezos, the government is a little like Amazon Prime. You reap the benefits, you got to pay an annual fee, and that's called taxes.
Yeah, she's coming for him. So they asked her today, a reporter, actual Elizabeth Warren, about who do you consider middle class, right? Because, like, the middle class is not going to pay anything based on her entire rollout of fantasy world Medicare for all.
Senator, when you say you won't raise middle class taxes, what is the income bracket that you use to define middle class?
Here it's 100%. It doesn't raise taxes on anybody but billionaires. And you know what? The billionaires can afford it, and I don't call them middle class. So billionaire, that's where it worked.
Anyone under $1 billion, that worked.
That's right. It's not paying a penny more. That's exactly right.
That's exactly right. So her apparently middle class is billion or above. So if you're worth 800 million, you are middle class. If you're a billionaire, you are upper echelon. She lives in a fantasy world. She does. I was looking at some of those numbers. You can't get there. You can't get there without absolutely ruining our economy. You can't get to this mythical world without absolutely ruining the economy, and on top of that, taking away choice from Americans, jobs from Americans. Then some of those will probably flip over to go from the private sector to the public sector. But you just can't. It's insane. And it's the same way that government does these pie in the sky things. It's everything goes the way that we think it's going to go. Right. So we get everything. It's like saying that you're going to go to the racetrack today and you're going to pay your mortgage and your future on a parlay. It's just, it's not going to happen. It's just not. It isn't. And as we talk about how we pay for it, one of the things I never hear discussed when Medicare for all is what does it look like to the patient and the doctor relationship? What does it look like if doctors decide, you know what, I busted my ass too hard. I got too many damn bills. I was living the life that I sacrificed. I put in the time. I put in the effort. And now you're telling me I'm capped here. Rural areas are going to struggle. What happens then? Right? What happened to specialty doctors? What happens then? What happens to all of these things? Are you going to make it illegal for people to go see doctors privately? I mean, how does this thing really work its way out? And what happens when we have a shortage of what we need? And getting in to see your doctor is virtually impossible, and you're stuck. We never talk about that. We never talk about that side of it. We always talk about what it's going to, we know what it's going to cost. It's going to cost a fairy tale. Like, she could, right now, find a genie in a bottle, right? Comes out the bottle, says, you have 3 wishes. And she's like, Medicare for all. He's like, sorry, you got 3 wishes. No, he's like, well, Medicare for all. 3 wishes. That's a wish I can't grant you. It's impossible. I can only do so much. Why do you believe in genies? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. McDonald's fired their CEO. Why?
The company's board on Friday voted to remove the McDonald's CEO from the role, saying he, quote, violated company policy and demonstrated poor judgment involving a recent consensual relationship with an employee.
Yeah. He was dating somebody who worked for him. And that's a no-no. The whole thing with Katie Hill. So here you got a congresswoman who got caught up in, some wild fun, adult stuff that she didn't do it. She wasn't killing anybody. It wasn't anything wrong, right? A bit of a swinger, all of these things. She got caught up. Some pictures came out and everybody's kind of made it about, well, it's revenge porn, this, that, and the other. She wasn't fired for any of that stuff. She didn't quit. She wasn't going to be fired. She wasn't going to be researched. She wasn't going to be, we're going to dig deep and investigate you and research everything you've ever. It had nothing to do with any of that stuff. It had all to do with the fact that since Me Too, having a relationship with a staff member, the other stuff with the person before that, when you were running, and the person even before you became a congressperson, that stuff is, people may look at it and be judgy. Well, it is what it is. Your morals, my morals. Everybody's got their own morals. But you didn't do anything illegal. Where you went wrong is you had a relationship with a staff member. It was the same thing here. He had a relationship with a staff member, which is a no-no. The head of HR now, apparently, at McDonald's, has quit because of this. And I don't know who the staff member was. I don't know if it was just some random person that worked part-time at a McDonald's that he happened to frequent, even though he was the CEO, or if this was somebody inside the building. And here's the other thing. He's single. He's a divorced dad of 3. It wasn't like he was having some torrid affair. He said it was consensual. But it broke the rules. Violated the rules of which his contract was. And her situation, Katie Hill, violated the rules of which they have in place now to protect people from being taken advantage of usually scumbag senators and congresspeople who prey on co-eds who are there either, interning or working, So those are things you can't do. Had nothing to do with all of the other stuff. And all to do with, well, in the end, it's like the whole thing with, Trump's old horrible attorney, right? And all of these other people got caught up. If you go and you look at all these people through the Mueller investigation, they got looked at because of that, but they got in trouble because of other things they did. This is the same thing. You can't do that because we say you can't do that. What you did before and what you do in your personal time. She could have an affair with another human being that has nothing to do with her campaign, doesn't work for any of that stuff. Nobody would care. It was the fact that they had this in place because of many others who before were paying out big taxpayer dollars secretly to people that they wanted to protect. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. The holiday season is here. I've heard Christmas music already. I've seen tons of Christmas commercials. It is the fourth quarter. We added a ton of jobs. We're heading into the holiday season. Is it going to be a big season?
With 6 fewer days between Black Friday and Christmas this year, the pressure is on retailers to compete for your money. The National Retail Federation reporting consumers will spend an average of more than $1,000 this holiday season, up 4% from last year. A healthy chunk of that money going towards electronics. Experts suggesting you grab deals now because inventories might not last until Christmas.
And that's huge. And remember this, as we've talked about all this stuff with Trump and this craziness, that and the impeachment, and this, all of those things aside, the economy is going to be huge. And if we're spending more money as consumers, we then feel what? Good about where we think the country's going, or at least where we think our lives are going. And that's a difference. Individual. You may think, well, the country right now, I feel like is going on a different path because I just don't like the division in the country. How do you feel your life is? Oh, my life is good. I feel good about my life. And if we're spending more money, if we're consuming more, that means we're comfortable with where we are and that we think and we feel strong enough that we can go out and spend money. That benefits the president. That benefits the incumbent. Saint, he could walk in today and be the saintiest guy in the history of histories. Everybody loves him. They think he's morally the most upstanding man in the world. Again, this is also hypothetical. And if the economy dies, his presidency dies. That's it. That's the reality of it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Speaking of Medicare and Medicare for all, isn't it nuts? I mean, we're sitting here talking about this insanity. Think about if you're over 50, right? You're looking around and you're like, okay, well, what's going on out there, right? Where's an organization that's fighting for me? That's where AMAC comes in, right? AMAC is looking around and going, okay, we're fighting to keep your Medicare solvent. 8 years they're talking about. That's about it before it goes bust. Social Security, struggling, paid into it. Many of us still are paying into it. May not see any of it. AMAC is fighting for you, fighting for common sense immigration reform. Talking to people there saying, look at us. This is what our constituents like. They're the fastest growing over 50 organization in the country. On top of joining them for that, having them fight the good fight for you, guess what else they're doing? They're giving you the membership for free, and you can take advantage of the retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, insurance discounts, travel discounts, discounts to movies and amusement parks that are huge. Now is your chance. Join AMAC today. It is free. It is on me. Go right now to amac.us/Chad or call 888-355-1617. That's 888-355-1617. It's 1 year. It's free on me. amac.us/Chad. AMAC is better. Better for you. Better for America. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
Baby shark doo 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 doo, baby shark doo 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 doo. I begin the theme song of the Washington Nationals, who are currently at the White House right now after winning the World Series last week in surprise fashion, beating the heavily favored Houston Astros in 7 games, losing all 3 of their home games and winning 4 of the road games. It's never been done before. They're at the White House today after partying hard for numerous days. Apparently over the weekend. Oh, this is funny. The Capitals, who had just won the Stanley Cup the year before, tweeted out something about how excited they are to have world champions in the city. And it pissed everybody off who is a fan of the WNBA, which is almost 8 people, because apparently the Mystics won the 2019 WNBA championship. Did you know that, Producer Phil?
Unfortunately, I did not.
Oh. So one of the players said, GD, even more ignorant is we're under the same damn blank company. Your social media people are weak AF. Because they tweeted out, District of Champions, hashtag Stanley Cup, hashtag World Series, and didn't say anything about the Mystics, who had one of the most dominating performances in front of hundreds of people. Chad, that's not very nice. The WNBA is awful. My jerk. I feel like a jerk, but I'm being honest because nobody wants to say stuff. Like, I'm sure it's great, right? But it's not. I can't. Nobody cares. Hockey, it's tough for people to care. Let's be real, right? The best league in the world is the National Hockey League. And minus Canada and a few other cities, it's tough for people to care. Your team may get up for it, right? But if they're rolling, the city may get behind them. Nashville, D.C., when I was in L.A., behind the Kings. Not even so much about the Ducks, right? You get behind it, but the reality is, if you're not, nobody's paying attention. And same thing with baseball anymore. It's more regional. But the WNBA, I had no idea. I'm in Phoenix, and I'm like, didn't our team play in the in the thing with the championship, because we were talking about which Phoenix team is going to be decent. It's like the Cardinals going to be okay, this, that, and the other. And they're like, no, it's this. It was something Sun, the Connecticut Sun. Oh, I thought it was the Phoenix Sun. I didn't even know. You're such a jerk, Chad. You're such a big jerk. You should know about the WNBA. You can send your hate mail to Phil, RadioAmerica.com. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, your Instagram, and everything else. And check out the Chad Benson Show Facebook page. Go like it and battle the crazies, because there's a plenty. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show.